Unfortunately, I have some more news for you regarding AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and I say unfortunately because this isn't good news, and it doesn't bring me any pleasure to create this video, but nonetheless I have to. So, an article from Politico was published the other day, and basically what the article detailed was about AOC, and essentially she has been donating to corporate Democrats, to establishment Dems, right? To aid them in their re-election processes because, of course, they would like to maintain the majority that they have in the House, and they're under, immense pressure because after this most recent election, they actually lost seats in the House, if you guys can remember that. So she donated around this Political article details like over $160,000 to these corporate Democrats, right? And so essentially what happened was, so normally when you do things like when you donate, right, it goes through the DCCC, okay? And that's like anonymous or whatever the case. But AOC and the DCCC doesn't have the best relationship. They're at odds or whatever. And so what she did was she donated directly to these people, okay? And so when the donation came up and they saw it was her name, panic ensued because they don't want to be associated with her, and they don't want the Republicans to attack them because what she believes isn't what they believe. Now, if you remember a while back, AOC was screwed basically out of a committee seat. They basically screwed her, tossed her to the wayside, and gave the seat to someone else. And so basically what this kind of is her kind of, I guess, subjugating herself, and pledging her allegiance and kind of saying, okay, I apologize for that. And, she's donating to their causes. And the reason that they did that, why they screwed her in that way, in that fashion, is because AOC has supported, campaigns against a lot of these establishment Democrats, a lot of these corporate Dems, to get them out of here because they can't do anything for us. And so that was their way of kind of getting back at her. And now here she is trying to make up for the damage, make up for the lost causes. But as you will see in this video, as I'm about to describe, none of this really matters. And you'll see in just a second. So first and foremost, let's start with these corporate Democrats. Oh, and by the way, AOC is a fundraising machine. Okay, she raises money like this. All right, that we have to state that. So they're upset because they don't want to be associated with the lefty, with the Green New Deal, with the Medicare for all, with everything that she advocates for, correct? And they think that they're convinced that will upend their campaigns, cause them to lose their seats, and all the rest. Now, we know through empirical evidence and through polling and through the people that all of that is bullshit. Okay, these people are liars, they're frauds, they're fakes, they're corporatists. They listen to their donors, and everything that they do is in part in subservience to their donors, okay, to the people that fund their political campaigns, okay? And that's why they're doing this, all right? And they don't want to be associated with AOC because, she's for a lot of things that the people are for, and they're not. And they don't want anything to do with that. And that's incredibly sad and incriminating on their part. But we knew that already. And the fact that they're doing this, it's so, of course, don't get me wrong. I'm mad at AOC, and we'll get to her in a minute. But these people can't be excused. This is absolutely vile. This is absolutely vile. And these are the people that are always preaching about unity and coalescing. Well, where the fuck is it now? And this is why I don't buy into the unity arguments, because you can't unify this. You can't unify this whatsoever. This is supposed to be a hostile takeover of the Democratic Party. Now that we got the frauds out of the way, let's speak on AOC for a minute. What did we learn? Knowing AOC, probably nothing. So this is a reoccurring theme with her. A lot of people will just chuck it up to naivete, just being naive. But I don't, at this point, we've seen this on too many occasions, sucking up to Nancy Pelosi, calling her mama bear, really giving the corporate Dems, the establishment Dems passes, not putting your foot on their neck when it's time, not going full throttle when it's time, being afraid to be hated by the media, doing cover-ups, etc. she has been I'm trying to pick my words carefully here, sort of a propaganda model, and she has been very gentle in her treatment of the establishment, of the ghouls that roam in Washington, and she hasn't been that fire-breathing dragon that we so want her and the rest of the Justice Democrats and the rest of the leftists in Congress to be. We want them to fight for us, and the way that you fight for us isn't to fund corporate Democrats and fund the establishment. No, fuck them. If they lose their seats, they lose their fucking seats. It is what it is. If they're going to vote with the Republicans, then what's the difference having them there and then having Republicans there? There is none. Okay, so all of that stuff that you're doing for them, you should focus on yourself and the people whose ideals actually align with their own. Okay, and if this doesn't do it, then I don't know what will. I mean, they don't like you. They hate you. They don't even want to accept your campaign donations. You extend an olive branch to them and they spit in your face. What does this tell you? What does this tell you? And this isn't like the first time that something like this has happened. As I've said, I mean, these things are reoccurring with these people. And it's difficult to understand how these people can just go along to get along and not just directly challenge power. Like, you need to be these people's biggest opposers, okay? You don't need to be donating to their campaigns to help them with their reelection. Now, what I want to read for you is a quote from a Democratic source. This is from the Political article. It says, if the Republicans are going to hit us on AOC, they're going to do it anyways. They don't care about the truth. I mean, that's so vile, so reprehensible. They don't care about the truth. The truth is that you guys serve corporations, that you do the bidding of your donors, that you're not the party of the people. That's the truth, because AOC embodies the people. I mean, honestly, AOC is the centrist here. She is. Those corporate Democrats, they're not centrist. No, they're not centrist. AOC is the centrist. Why? Because Medicare for all, ending the wars, free college, taxing and regulating drugs, all those different issues that she's for, that falls right down the center of mainstream opinion. And in any other developed country, that'd be like, well, of course, you know? So really, she's the centrist. And these people are really showing their true colors with this, whether they realize it or not. They probably don't even care. And in regards to the Republicans using AOC as a hit piece on these guys, first of all, they've been calling Joe Biden a communist. These are the same people that call Joe Biden, moderate Republican Joe Biden, centrist Joe Biden, centrist, a communist. I mean, they've gone so far right. Anything progressive, any kind of progressive legislation is communism. I mean, that's what it is. And so they're afraid to be brandished as socialists. Well, I tell you what, you brandish yourself as a socialist, you'll win. You will win, because people crave social democracy. People want something different than what we have now. This isn't working for them. This isn't working for the voters. And they'll never realize that, of course. They'll never realize it. So if this party was, in fact, the party of AOC, as the Republicans would want you to believe, and as the corporate Democrats are afraid that the voters will believe, the party would be much more successful. I promise you that. And it's actually funny that they're saying this, because a report recently came out that AOC was one of the most ineffective politicians in Washington. I think out of 240 people, she ranked like 230. And like it was something like 21 pieces of legislation she proposed. None of them got looked at. None of them got voted on. So she's like, I mean, super ineffective, you know. And there are reasons for that. You know, you could blame it on Washington and how right-wing and how vitriolic it is to progressive ideas. And you could also blame it on her, because she's not a good strategizer. She's really not good at strategy. And you can see it here as she's donating to the very people that are her biggest opposers. But I don't know if she's ever going to learn the lesson. I don't know when she's going to learn the lesson. I don't know when any of these lefties, these so-called progressives in Congress, are going to get their act together and fight for the people in the way that they know that they should. But we'll just have to wait and see.